thank you for joining us all today. As you can see, we're in a special location, special event. We decided to chill out here in the heart of Tel Aviv, in the Perla Bar. And me and my colleagues here are going to have a bit fun today with you and share with you SysAid 9. We just released. You can all download it, upgrade to 9 and enjoy all the new features. Actually, SysAid 9 has 3 major parts we're going to discuss. But just before, I just want to remind you that during all the session, you can chat with us at sysaid.com/chat. You can chat with us via our Facebook page, as you can see, and also you can tweet us. We'll be here behind the scenes, all the team, answering all your questions. So any question during the demos, during the webinar, and even a bit after, we're here to answer all your questions. So feel free. So, SysAid 9, let's talk about SysAid 9. There's 3 major parts in SysAid 9. It's packed with features. The first part is where we certified our product, SysAid 9, for ITIL. It's certified, we'll discuss that later, for incident management, problem management, change management, using Pink Verify certification, leading certifier in the world. Second part is a major UI enhancement we did for our knowledge base based on your requests. We had roundtables on that, very interesting story. We'll discuss that again later. And the major part of SysAid 9 is SysAid Mobile Device Management, MDM capabilities. And we'll see that a lot of demos, and that'll be very interesting to see as well. So, without further delay, let's start. I want to invite my first colleague, Oleg. Please join us, Oleg. And while Oleg's joining us, how about some drinks? We're in a bar here, so let's enjoy. So you can sit back too, take some drinks, whatever's allowed during working hours, wherever you are. Cheers, and let's start. Okay, so MDM, Mobile Device Management. Our mobile device management is fully integrated within SysAid. That's part of our innovative idea where the devices, whether they're smartphones, tablets, are just like any other asset, and that's why you'll find them under your asset management. It's not a new module. You don't have to purchase it. It's built in all the releases. That's in the Pro, in the Enterprise. You can all enjoy it. We'll find it under asset management. That's right. So how will we see it there?
Yes, that's right. In SysAid, mobile devices will be found in the same asset list in asset management module, side by side with all other asset types such as printers, servers, and other devices.
Okay, that's great. So that's where you'll find the devices. How do they get there? We need to go through an enrollment process, and that's what we're going to see now. So, Oleg, show us how easy it is to enroll the devices. This is what you'll do with your end users. Go ahead.
Okay, so in SysAid, we provide 2 methods to enroll mobile devices to SysAid. The first one is just from the user management list. We provide here a multiple selection of users, so it's possible to send the enrollment notification to a bulk of users at once. We have an action in the action bar, enroll to MDM. And here we can deliver the message by SMS or email, or even both. And that's it. The enrollment request is sent to the mobile devices, to the recipients that I selected.
Okay, so
and they are received. And okay, so here
so I just received a request now. So let me just check. I don't know if you can see it. Let me just try and. Okay, that's right. I did an enrollment request from SysAid IT. If you can see on the screen, I'll just log in there, and I got a nice greeting with a quick introduction of what I need to do. Basically, just click the link, and clicking the link actually takes me to the enrollment process, which is very simple. I get an introduction screen giving me very easy instructions that I need to continue. That's that large green button. Authenticate, and that's it. So here it's asking me for credentials. These are my Active Directory credentials, Oleg?
Yes, this exactly the same credentials which we use to log in to SysAid.
Okay, and to the network as well.
And to the network as well.
That's great. That means your end users won't have to know a new password or token. They just use their day-to-day password.
That's right. The customers who implement LDAP integration, their end users will use the same credentials.
Great. Okay, so that was cool. Does that work only on iPhone?
Okay, so on iPhone, as you could see, you just press on the link and launch the Safari web browser to enroll your mobile device. Here I have an Android device, and here the process is very similar, but
Sure.
yes, okay, so again, we have the same notification, the same enrollment notification, the same link. When I press on the link, it will launch the Google Play Market to download the SysAid Android MDM app, and once I do it, I install the app, it will launch exactly the same enrollment wizard.
Okay, so both Android and iPhone have enrollment process a bit different. You know, the different OSs. So there's no app here involved, and there's an app there. Function-wise, they action the same as soon as we're enrolled.
Eventually, it works exactly the same.
Ah, that's perfect. Okay, so Oleg, you said that there was two methods.
Yes, right. So the second one is from the asset management network discovery MDM tab. We have here a new MDM tab, and the admin can press on the press here link to launch a customized notification, which is being sent to the end users, and here he can customize the text of this particular enrollment request.
So he just selects the users and send it.
Yes,
apply.
exactly.
Okay, great. And this customizes also the main message, or can you customize the main message somewhere else? The automatic messages that came out before.
Okay, so the main message is being customized in the same place as our customers use to customize all the messages in customized notifications.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that.
Okay, so here we have the subject and the body of the email, and the subject of the body of the SMS.
So I can just update the defaults here, and that way I can customize it for my users. Okay.
Yes, right.
That's great. So I'd like to thank you at this stage, Oleg.
Thank you.
We'll get back to you later with the MDM. And next up is knowledge base. So I want to invite Sivan. So next up, as I said, is knowledge base. I'd like to invite Sivan and Maurice to join me. So please join us. Thank you. And while they join, of course, some drinks. That's great. Thank you again, Tomer. And the knowledge base, SysAid knowledge base. We're introducing a new complete UI in the SysAid knowledge base. That's correct, right?
Yes.
Great. Interesting story here, I promised at the beginning. So we had a few roundtables with our pathfinders to get the best out of this new feature, just to understand the importance of this feature, because your end users are the ones that consume this this feature, the FAQ knowledge base. We wanted to hear your needs and make sure we cover the best UI possible. We had a lot of challenges within this feature to try to pack a lot of information in one screen and make it simple for your end users to use. So I think we're going to jump right in and see it. So what's the knowledge base all about? Let's see, Sivan. Jump to the demo.
Maurice, let's start with the end user.
Sure.
So as you said, we had a few roundtables with our users, and we listened to the requirements, of the questions, and we actually redesigned the whole knowledge base and included some new features. Let's start from the end user. Let's suppose that the end user is looking for some information inside the knowledge base. He has several options to search for them. First, he can go through the categories, open the categories and browse them, and look for the information. He can see how many articles he has in each category, and as soon as we select one category, we can immediately see the articles inside that category, and they're sorted by votes. So the view is immediately on an article that is the most voted one.
So these are the articles that our customers had in 8.5 with their upgrading. Those same articles will be inside this new UI.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, that's great.
Right. Now, an easier way to search for an article or for the information is just searching it. We implemented some cool features in the search bar. Once we start typing, we immediately get some suggestions for our search.
This is new. This didn't exist in the previous features.
No, it didn't.
Okay,
no,
great.
it didn't. And once we click on a search item, for example, on iPhone, we immediately get all the articles that are relevant to our search. So we can find our information easily and fast. Some extra features that we added is, as we said before, is the voting option. Every user.
Those are those thumbs up, thumbs down.
Exactly.
I was wondering about those.
Yes, we know them from somewhere else. This allows the user to vote if the article was useful for him or not. So once the users start voting, we will have more relevancy in the search.
Okay, this specific article helped me before, so I want to vote yes for it. Thumbs
Right.
up.
Here, Sivan voted it, so the number got up to 2.
Okay, so I see you introduced some new UI elements also inside the conversation with the user. The message was nice and open and closed.
Exactly, yes.
Are we going to see more of that in SysAid in the future?
Absolutely. We're planning
Great.
some great new changes to the whole system.
Great, great. I'm excited and waiting for that as well. Great. Okay, so what else is new in the knowledge base?
We added some extra information at the bottom of each article. We can see when the article was created and when it was updated, how many views it has. By the way, views are also a factor in the sorting of articles. I can view articles on the middle pane by views.
Ah, great, great. So we have a lot of sorting options.
And
Okay.
another important feature that we added is tagging. We can tag every article, and this tagging contributes to the search.
Ah, that's why they came up in the search.
Exactly. Once I
Okay.
tag the article, it comes out on the search results.
And how does all this look on the admin side?
Let's go to the admin side and see it.
So here we have another options that the end user does not have. It's the new button, and here we have the share this article option that the administrator can share the article with the end users or other administrator.
Oh, that was great. That was a feature that was asked by a lot of customers. They want to send an article to the user without the link, the actual article itself. That's
Yes.
right. That article came up. Ah, great.
And the other thing is the export to SysAid community. An administrator can share the article with other SysAiders around the world. And the edit button. Maurice, do you want to?
Sure. So we made the whole editing option or creating a new article option inside a lightbox, because we found out that using a lightbox is an excellent way to focus the user to a specific action without being too intrusive with pop-up windows, etc. So we have here a nice editing form where we can select the categories, insert the article title, the question, the answer. Everything is editable. We can add pictures, links, rich HTML, and at the bottom we have all the extra information which we had before, but it wasn't formatted this way.
I like the fact that while you scroll, the save and cancel button stay in the same place. That's very, very user friendly, and I'd like to see more of that as well in SysAid.
Thank you. So the extra options that we added is we have control of the expiration of the article, for example. If the admin wants to set an expiration date for an article, we can reset the views. We can decide if the article will be published to the end user or not. Upload files, and we have some visual indication for the file types we upload. For example, if it's a presentation, it will have a pie icon, or if it's a picture, so we will have a nice flower icon. So everything is represented visually, so the user can see and scan the document easily and understand the information.
Great. One of the things I'd like to share with you is some UI elements that were added within the tags. Right? We had a nice challenge how we're going to manage tags with the list, with the form. You actually came up with a very innovative idea with managing the tags, adding and removing tags. You want to tell us a bit about that?
Yes. Actually, adding tags, it's easy as typing and hitting the enter button. We just type in, for example, iPhone or iPad or whatever you can type in, and hit the enter button, and the tag is immediately entered into the article.
Ah, that's
you can see
great.
here.
And,
Yes.
removing it, I assume, clicking
Just
the X
click
there?
on the X icon. and
So
it's
there's
gone.
no screen to manage tags. It's all within
Nothing.
the same form. That's
Exactly.
great. That saves a lot of space, a lot of time for users to learn. We'd like to see more of that in SysAid as well in the future.
And you will. You
Great.
will.
What was the old UI, the previous UI? Some
We
of our
still
customers.
have the option to go back to the old UI. I really hope you won't go back to the old UI. But if there's anything left there that you still want to see, you can switch there. and go back to the old UI.
That's another important thing we did based on your comments. SysAid's change, like anything, is something that you need to get used to, maybe gradually go through the process of new screens, find your way around. So for the next release or two, you'll be able to use the old UI until you feel comfortable with the new UI. But the new UI is much better. We took all your inputs and we added more features in the new UI. So good luck and enjoy it. During November, we're going to have a special session for our Pathfinders, a roundtable for our new UI planned in 2013 for all SysAid. So I'd like to invite the Pathfinders to take part, and those of you who want to be a Pathfinder, go ahead and join and contribute, because SysAid is going to whole new places regarding UI, as you saw, a bit of taste in the knowledge base, and your inputs are very important. I want to thank you, Sivan, and thank you, Maurice, at this stage. And I'd like to go back to MDM and invite Oleg back. So Oleg, join us. As you can see, just to remind you all, we're in the bar here, in the parallel bar, in the heart of Tel Aviv. You can see behind us all the action. And we're demoing our SysAid cloud environment. All these demos are performed on the SysAid cloud. We're using the bar's Wi-Fi. You know, technology today, bars have not only beer, also Wi-Fi. And that's what you're seeing here. Just to remind you, all our cloud customers received all this already in the past few months, and they're enjoying these new features. We put it all together into installed release in 9.0 we're celebrating today, and you can all enjoy that as well. So, what we're going to talk about is the mobile devices. If you remember, we enrolled both devices before. We enrolled some other devices as well, so you can see. We said we can see them under asset management. That's right, Oleg?
Yes, that's right. So, in the asset management, as mentioned before, in asset list, we will find all the devices, all other devices, and all mobile devices in the same list.
We have all devices here. Okay, we have tablets here, we have smartphones, we have Android, we have iOS. That's great. We have all the devices here. These are actual real devices. We can see some information here. We'll see that later.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we want to talk about device policies, right?
Yes, right. So the way we control mobile devices in SysAid is by using policies, mobile device policies, which can be, this section can be found in asset management here. So each mobile device has a designated policy, which was assigned by this policy before, and we can switch to the to device policy section and see the policies which are configured in system. Each SysAid system can have as much policies as needed according to organization needs.
I see there's a BYOD device, there's a HQ device. I assume we, just like any other organization, we at SysAid have also BYOD, company-owned devices. So we have different policies to fit our different needs. What we're seeing now here is the policy itself, right? You picked up the default policy.
Yes.
And what can we control with this policy?
Okay, so each tab controls something else. So the first tab is controls the way the device password policy to control the security aspects of the mobile devices. Here we can enforce the mobile devices to be locked out if the device is idle for some time.
Okay, this is great. Actually, a lot of organizations have security policies regarding laptops, workstations, even applications, whether it's the password history, password length, password complexity. I see on the screen all this is supported for mobile devices too, so customers can just apply their existing security policies on mobile devices as well.
Exactly. We can. It's possible here to enforce the device to use the password, and we can control. For example, the password length, how much password history, like in Active Directory in GPO.
Great. And as you see here, there's one shared screen for both OSs. That means iOS and Android get the same settings, even though they're different platforms. We merged the settings to a common ground, and when you define the policies, you don't care if it's an Android or an iOS. you just set based on your policies, and we'll take care of propagating it down to the device. So that was passcode. That's great. What's
So
up? What's
the
next?
second tab is the Wi-Fi settings. Here we can configure multiple profiles for each policy, and this is in sake of to make it possible to configure multiple Wi-Fi profiles when employees move between buildings, between branches, between floors in the same building. They move from one Wi-Fi to another one. So we configure here multiple profiles in the same policy.
Actually, every time I visit our offices in Brazil or Australia, I keep on forgetting the Wi-Fi settings, and that would be great. You could just, probably push the settings on my phone, and even if they change the password, it'll be okay?
Yes, that's right. So now, for example, if admin controls his Wi-Fi settings from using MDM, his end users don't even need to have the password at all. And he can control and change the password from time to time.
Oh, that's great as well, because every time security policies require that if one of your employees leave, it's a sad event, but you need to probably change the Wi-Fi password so to keep your policy in place. In this case, we don't have to give our employees the Wi-Fi password anymore.
No, we don't have to give them the password, and we can control it and change it from time to time periodically, and keep it as IT information, internal IT information.
So when you change it in this policy, it sends it to all the devices which are enrolled?
Immediately.
Oh, that's great. That's a great feature. Okay, so that
and
was Wi-Fi settings.
Yes, and we provide multiple methods of encryption. Here, as you can see, it's a web, WPA and WPA2. Now the third tab is email.
That's something that every employee that joins, the first thing he does is, where do I sit and how do I configure my smartphone to read emails, right? We follow that a lot.
So and once again, we can configure within the profile, we can configure the email settings to be deployed with the MDM policy to the mobile devices. And again, end users don't need to do anything. They don't need to configure anything on their mobile device. All the settings, as we display here, it depends on the email protocol which is being used, whether it's an IMAP, POP, or Exchange Active Sync.
That means both Microsoft and Google Apps both supported.
Both supported, and we provide even some out-of-the-box settings as an example, or it can be used right away, and that's it. The end user don't need actually to do anything. He just finally, in his experience, he just need to provide a password.
That's great. Now, to put all this in context, actually the mobile device management in SysAid doesn't go around technology, managing the devices. It goes beyond a process of supporting the user. Remember, you have a user that you want to control his security elements. You want to be able to silently push the settings for the Wi-Fi and the email without compromising the password, without bothering your users when you change the password, and also you can probably perform other actions we'll see later on, right?
Yes, right. We'll see it later. And just I want to mention the fourth tab is the attached assets, and here we can see all the assets which are attached to this policy, and that will be the place to attach more assets in bulk, like to select multiple assets or to remove assets. Okay, this is exactly, that will be the most convenient place to control which assets are assigned to each policy.
That's great. So we indeed saw how SysAid MDM is integrated within the asset management module. It's not a different module like we said before. You all have it. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Thank you, Oleg. We'll be back later for more MDM. Next up, ITIL. So let's go ahead. Just to remind you before ITIL that we're available in chat. Be patient. There's a lot of chat sessions going on. There's a lot of you joining us for the webinar today. We have a dedicated team dealing with all your questions. We'll answer all your questions. We have sysaid.com/chat. We have our Facebook page, and you can tweet us as well, as you can see on screen. So thank you again, Oleg. And next up, ITIL. ITIL, we promised you earlier an interesting story about ITIL. So yes, our ITIL package exists for a few years now. What we did in release 9 is we actually certified it. It's certified for incident management, problem management, and change management. We did it via Pink Elephant services. They gave us a Pink Verify stamp. It was a very interesting process with them. They thoroughly checked each and one of our features within SysAid, and rest assured, your SysAid 9 is ITIL certified, both change, problem, and those of you who also use just incident management, also it's certified. You can enjoy it. We did some changes. By the way, not too many changes. Our product was already out of the box, fit all their needs. One of the interesting things we did, is we added request management. So starting from SysAid 9, you can see that we separated between incidents and requests. Those of you who are familiar with ITIL, there's a large chapter about the difference between requests and incidents. And let's go ahead and see it, Oleg. So take us to SysAid. Where are we on? What screen are we on now?
Okay, so now we are in end user portal. As you mentioned, we added a request, new SR type request to support the request fulfillment process. And now from the end user portal, end users can submit a request explicitly. Here is an example.
Okay, so they're submitting a request versus an incident. Great. Now, tell me something. When our customers upgrade, will it be added automatically to the end user portal? Because I know not all of our customers like changes automatically. They like checkboxes to turn on and off features. So is this feature configurable?
Yes, this feature is configurable in preferences. Our admins can. We added a new checkbox to specify whether to display the request submission form in end user portal or not. And those customers who upgrade, by default they will not see it, and they need to go in to select this checkbox.
Great. So you heard that. You control the changes, the new features. You can turn them on and off and test them and decide how to implement them, especially when your end user involved. It's very important. Great. So let's talk a bit more about ITIL. So we have actually request management. That's a large part of the things we added. You can see here, we're looking at the service desk right now.
Yes, we are looking at the service desk. We see the list of all service records, and we see here some examples of the request records which were submitted. And just to mention that the request records fully support also all the workflow of the process with action items.
Great. I see we can also access them on the left menu. We can see the requests and filter them. Great. One more thing about this. There's an interesting feature also we added related to problems and incidents. You know, a lot of you asked in the community and during sessions with our professional services that we had, what's the difference between incident and problem? How can we integrate them both? So we have a nice feature that integrates incidents and problems. Tell us a bit about it, Oleg.
Yes, right. So we added a mechanism which suggests potentially related problems to submitted incidents. So if the incident was submitted previously by the end user and then opened by admin or submitted from the admin portal, during the submission process, system just searches in database if there are possibly potential related problems to these particular incidents which is being submitted.
Okay, so if I go to the effort of opening problems and categorize them and attaching incidents to them, next time someone opens an incident and it matches one of the algorithm of the matching, it'll suggest it. Even though our admins don't know about that problem, it'll show that there's an active problem.
Exactly, as we can see in this example, I just created a new incident. I selected the first category, data center. The system just looking in the database, found some potentially related problems, display me. Now it's 2 problems. If I will just go and become more specific, okay, so it will decrease the list.
In this case, there's no problems related to that.
Didn't find any problem which is in data center electricity.
That's great. So now you have another reason for implementing problem management. It'll give you added value for your admins. Another thing I want to mention regarding ITIL is the standardization of the terminology. one of the important things about ITIL is how you call each service request. If it's a request, incident, problem, change, priority, these terms are, the ITIL Foundation worked very hard to make a standard terminology, and we opened the dictionaries, made sure we were on track. By the way, we were on track with 99% of the terms. One of the things we did change is we have now service records, which include incidents, problem, changes, and requests. So you'll see that throughout SysAid. Even those of you who don't have ITIL, we add a lot of new features within SysAid 9. We'll see that later. Okay, great. So thank you again, Oleg. Next up, customer relations. Joseph is going to join us, and what he's going to actually discuss is something very interesting, things that you came up with customers and we delivered in SysAid 9. Thank you. Let's call Joseph to join us. Please join us, Joseph. We'll talk about customer requests. And of course, Joseph, no beer for you, so Tomer, can I get some beer?
Thank you, Tomer.
Perfect, thank you very much. Great. We'll be discussing your requests now. All year long during feature request forum in our community and in customer relations, you ask for stuff and we deliver them, and those are the things we're going to see today, right, Joseph?
Yeah, we can actually say that a very large part of the new features that were added came from the forum and are mostly voted in the forum, so that's a great advantage.
What's the first one? Yeah.
Let's talk. Let's get right down to business. We have a really nice new feature. Remote control now allows controlling multiple monitors at a single session, and the way it works, and let's demonstrate it right now. If we go to the asset management and choose an asset, we've got, well, I'm going to use RCG now, but we can do remote control with any other method.
Just to remind those of you, yes, RCG is what it's remote control gateway. It's our gateway allowing a remote control beyond firewalls, beyond security settings.
Through the browser.
Through the browser, yeah, using the browser only.
Also from mobile devices. If you want to do the remote from iPad, you can do that. Now we have the session started. I can maximize the screen so we can have more use of our screen resolution. On the right, I have my primary monitor where the taskbar is.
We're looking right now at one of the assets, a different PC remotely controlled. It may have two screens, yeah?
Exactly, it has two screens. And you can see that they're not perfectly aligned. So on the right one, we have a little, dead area on the top, which shows as a grid. That's because the screens are not, don't have the exact same resolution and are not perfectly aligned. We can move windows between one monitor and the other, and we can scroll between the monitors. Since we're using RCG, all I have to do is just click my mouse and drag to the right or left, and it's going to scroll between the windows. If you were on iPad, you would just use your finger. You would just swipe the screen, and you would be scrolling from the right to left. In addition, it's not really a new feature, but just something worth mentioning. We now have the ability to control windows that require elevation, including Services Console. We've got the special keys like Control-Alt-Delete. Everything else just works exactly the same. The whole user experience is exactly the same between the previous remote control and the new one. It's only added the new capability of having control over multiple screens.
Great. More and more of our end users are getting to use multiple screens, and this is very important for those of you who use remote control. It's just seamless. Just perform a remote control session, and you can support your users. That's great. That's great. Tell us a bit more. What else is new in 9 for customer requests?
We've got a few more features that people requested. I think one of the more popular one is the ability to set some other administrator as out of office. Up until now, we had the option of each administrator setting their own account to be out of office. Today, if we go to the administrator form, we can go into any administrator, and if we add the out of office field into the form, we could set any administrator as out of office. So if somebody took a long vacation and forgot to set themselves as out of office, you could do that. You could also remove them, remove this configuration from them. No problem. Everything else behaves the same as the old out of office feature.
So this feature was actually available only within the admin's settings page. So if he just happened to be sick a day or take a day off and forgot to set the settings, like you say, you can do it for him as SysAid administrator. That's
Exactly.
great. So
Exactly.
you added it through the cogwheel. So those of you who upgrade have to remember, if you want to use this feature, just like other features, you turn them on and start using them and start enjoying them. Great.
Let's go into the service desk. In service desk, we had a lot of enhancements. I'm just going to show a few. For example, if we look into the categories, we said that there are different types of service record types. For example, incident, request, change, and so on. Today, we can also configure the categories to apply to a certain or a certain set of service record types. You could go in to the categories configuration page and just select which service record type you want it to apply to. For example, we've got one here that is applying to all types, and also we have it visible on the end user portal. We had that before. The enhancement here is the ability to choose which service record type it applies to.
This is great. This is, remember I mentioned before, the self-service portal. You have the new request. When a user comes to submit a request or an incident, he'll see different categories based on what he's inputting. So if he's inputting a request on a printer, he won't see in the categories paper jam and so on. He'll just see requests for permission, requests for moving a printer, and so on.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great as well.
Let's go into an incident and talk about the new feature of archiving incidents. So I'm going to go into one of the service records. Let's take this one, number 21, and let's say we solved the problem and we're going to close that incident. Notice we have a new field here for closure information. It basically lets us choose why we close it, if we solved it, if we didn't solve it. You can also customize the list of possible closure information options we have here.
This feature is great for statistics. A lot of you want to know how the feature was closed, and maybe some of you opened up multiple closed statuses just to represent this. You can stay with your closed status and put the detailed information within the closure information. Will people who upgrade see this like before, or they have to turn it on?
They have to turn it on, but it's really simple. You could use that little cogwheel icon, the design button, and basically all you have to do is just add the closure information field into the form. It doesn't really matter where you put it. Wherever you're going to put it, as long as it's in the visible fields, it's going to pop up on the right of the status field. Okay, you can put it at the end of the form. It will still show on the right of the status field.
That's right. You wanted to show us archive view. Showed us another new feature, a bonus feature, right? The closure information.
Yeah, exactly. This is the new field we'll have to add. Furthermore, you'll need to add this wherever you have status, whatever tab you have the status on. For example, if we have solution and we have the status, if we had the status field here, we also need to add the closure information to this tab as well.
Great. So let's go ahead and see the archive feature. That was one of the features a lot of you asked for. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as we're here, let's close this incident. Once I apply this, after the incident is closed, we get a new button here. It wasn't here before. This button here allows me to archive the service request, the incident, and as soon as I do that, let's prove this and go back to the incidents view. Notice I'm not filtering by anything, but I still can't see service record number 21. It's gone from here. But I have a new view named Archive that allows me to see all the archived incidents that I have on my system, and I can further filter down this view. In addition, I could also add the archive option here. I can say if I want my default view to show both archived and unarchived incidents or service records. You could decide if you want to show which ones you want to show here.
That's great as well. So you can customize your own views. Besides separating the lists, the archive also locks the ticket, the service request?
It locks the service record. If I go into a service record that is archived, I cannot make any changes to it. None of my fields are operable here, but if I want to make a change, I can basically restore it or unarchive it. Make my change and archive it again. That's no problem.
And is this action documented? Do we know who archived and who unarchived?
Yes, sure. Everything is written on the history tab of the service request. You can always go here and see who made the change, when, and you can see that the action of archiving was mentioned here.
Great. So SysAid just got better in the service desk as well, giving you the archive options, giving you the closure informations. We saw the remote control before. We have additional things that we don't have enough time to show during this session, but you're welcome to read the release notes. Anything else you want to show us?
A couple more,
Sure.
if we have
Go ahead,
2 more
go ahead.
minutes. On the asset management, we have a new option to design the form layout based on the asset type. So if I have an asset type of laptop here, then it's very reasonable that I would see operating system and CPU and memory and so on, everything that's more relevant to a computer, to a laptop. However, if I'm looking at a printer, I shouldn't see all these things. These are irrelevant to a printer. So I could design the form based on the type. So I can say that for printer, I don't care. I don't want to see these fields. Maybe network I do want to see, but everything else is pretty much useless for us for printers. So I can basically make the form more relevant based on the asset type.
I see also you removed some tabs here. There's no remote control tab, there's no history login tab, and so on. So yes, you can really adapt SysAid for your needs based on your assets. That's a great feature as well. Great.
Yeah, and one more thing I wanted to... No more time?
No more time for that. Sorry,
Okay.
we'll run through. Thank you very much, Joseph. And we're going to go back to MDM again to show you one of the more interesting features on the actions you can do in MDM. So thanks again, Joseph, and let's invite Oleg. Thanks. Let's see some management and control features with the SysAid mobile device management. Oleg, thanks for joining us again. Take us through. Let's pick up one of the phones. How about picking up my iPhone?
Why not?
So there it is. It's on the list, right? That's my Oded's iPhone 4S. Tell us a bit what we see here.
Okay, so we added for each mobile device an action control. And here we find 3 basic operations which we can perform on mobile devices. We can lock it. The first one is that we can lock it in case you just you leave it somewhere and you are not sure if you actually lost it or not.
So if I say, let's say I'm in a bar, how convenient, and I have my iPhone with me, and and I forgot it on the table and left. I hope you can see that. So if I leave, if someone picks it up and I just call up my IT and say I forgot my phone, you can actually, the first thing you do is you can lock it. So go ahead. Let's say someone's playing with my phone here, and
that's right. So I will press the lock device action. It will ask me if I'm sure. I will say okay.
As you can see, my phone is completely open here. Someone's like navigating through all my apps here, and all of a sudden we'll get a lock screen. If I'll try to unlock it, you'll see it'll ask for a passcode, and that was a real-time action using, again, our cloud solution from the bar here in the heart of Tel Aviv, going through our cloud services all the way down to my iPhone. That's amazing. That works directly from the asset management. That's how we integrated SysAid MDM inside your installation. If we're already here, Oleg, show us a bit more of what we can see here in this asset on this iPhone.
So also we have here a recent device passcode action, which is also might be very useful in case one of the end users just forgot his passcode. So what he can do, he can ask his IT manager to reset it.
That's probably going to happen to all of you when you enforce the passcodes and your users weren't used to using passcodes. So first few days, first few weeks, they might get a device which is locked and they don't know their phone. Very simple, resetting passcode.
I'll just press it, and once the operation completed, you as end user on your mobile device, you'll see the device ask you to provide a new passcode.
Ah, that's even great. You don't even have to give the user a password on the phone. He just enters a new password. That's great. Let's see some of the asset management features here.
Just before we leave the screen, we have also the wipe device, which might be also very useful in case the device is actually lost. You didn't find it or it's stolen. So then you probably would report to your manager or to your IT manager, and in case there is some essential, maybe confidential information business-wise, then the device can be wiped. Wipe, which means it can be reset to factory defaults. All the data will be removed, and also there is another action, another option to perform kind of selective wipe. If it just remove the MDM control, then all the settings and even the corporate mailbox, for example, will be just removed. Particularly, and the private data will not be touched.
Okay, so let me just repeat that. Remember earlier we showed how we push Wi-Fi settings and email settings. By removing the MDM control, the device will, all the Wi-Fi settings will be erased, including password. That means that device will not be able to connect to your network anymore. And it added earlier an email account. It will, the email account will be removed, including the contacts and corporate emails, and you will remain with your pictures, your photos, your apps, your private email as well.
Right.
That's great. That's a great feature as well. Let's go out and see some more inventory, some software. Right? We know the apps are installed on this device.
Yes, right. So as we mentioned before, every mobile device is as any other asset in SysAid. It brings inventory information. So when I go back to the SARS iPhone record, so we can see that there is in software section we will find all the software, all the apps which are installed on the mobile device. Also there are some new controls that we added which are unique to mobile devices. Some, for example, IMEI, which is a unique identifier for the mobile device. We can see the home carrier. We see other controls that we populate, such as storage, the MAC address, all the information that we can gather, can obtain from the mobile device. We get it to SysAid. We collect it in SysAid and display in the mobile asset record.
Perfect. What about permissions? Who's allowed to perform mobile device functions?
Yes. Okay, it's a great question. We added a special permission for this purpose. If we just go to the administrator and we can, let's say, we create a new one. By default, each administrator is not allowed to control mobile devices.
Good.
When I say it's not allowed, he cannot perform any actions. He cannot wipe a device. He cannot lock it or whatever.
That's
or
one of
even
the things.
change.
That's one of the things I wanted to make sure. I'm sure some of you are asking in the chat about permissions. You're concerned a bit about these capabilities. You control it as SysAid administrators. By default, it's blocked, and you can allow your admins one by one, right?
Including changing the mobile device policy.
Ah, that's great. So
Okay.
where will we find that?
So the new permission, each administrator which we want to grant him a permission to control mobile devices, we need to add to check this checkbox, manage mobile devices, at the bottom of the list of the permissions of administrator form.
Great. Okay, so that was the third part of MDM, Mobile Device Management in SysAid. We covered most of the features, main features in SysAid Mobile Device Management. I'd like to thank you again, Oleg.
Thank you.
And we'll be back to round up. So all the team joined us here to round up. I'd like to just remind you all that there's many more features in SysAid 9th generation. For example, we support Windows 8. It's just released now by Microsoft, and many more features. You can read them all in the release notes. I'd like to also remind you there's a special offer until the end of November. There's a 20% discount on all additional asset licenses. So you can enjoy that as well. Remember, MDM is part of your installation, part of your upgrade. You will receive all these features. Enjoy them. And I'd like to remind you all to the chat. We're all available here in chat, in sysaid.com/chat for more questions, on our Facebook page, and you can tweet us for that. So it's about time to thank you all the team here. I want to thank the customers. Special thanks to the Parallel Bar here in the heart of Tel Aviv, which hosted us. Very nice today. And thanks a lot. So cheers.
Cheers.